One. Hey,
Zig,
literally at the same time, it's on my head too.
Zigzagzilla.
Part
Uh,
two.
what's the theme then, Ziggy?
All right, so let's go into AI real quick because I want to basically cover what we were talking about in part one real quickly. But do you notice how life is overall? We're in like a giant artificial intelligence. You
Mm-hmm.
notice how, uh, well, do you believe in the law of attraction?
Yeah.
Okay. You see how everything basically revolves around the law of attraction, the mind making it real, electromagnetism and whatnot, like basically attraction and using the hermetic principles and whatnot. Do you notice how even uh, just the algorithm in your phones basically work on algorithms based on what you've been looking at, based on what's on your mind, based on it kind of learns your patterns,
Yeah.
and that's basically how it works in life. You get what I'm saying? But that's why I said the artificial intelligence is a manifestation of man, because it basically created the artificial intelligence in the image of man. It does everything that man has the capabilities of doing. Metaverse is now even telling you that you don't even have to use your imagination, but in actuality, this is retardation, like I said, because it's taking away your superpowers, which is basically the power of imagination. And again, that actually diminishes the power of focus. It diminishes the power of discipline as well, which is
Yeah.
very important because when you use your imagination, you have to focus on an imagination, right? When you're in like when you're working on projects, that's literally like a projection that you put out first, but it requires focus and then it requires discipline. You see how everything requires these things that are all intertwined and mingle with each other. This is why sometimes when I ask you random questions and people say that we don't stay on topic, I feel like it's just a form of people not being able to keep up, in my opinion, because I don't think in any way, shape, or form I've ever spoken to you and you've been lost in fucking, the conversation. But we have to also cater to these people who are not as, you know, uh, privy to the
Well,
game like of
yeah.
what we're talking about. So we have to cater to the fact that we're having a conversation. There's listeners, right? So that's why I mentioned that with AI, right? Um, the whole thing with AI overall, woman, for example, we attract what we are. This is why they say if you're in a relationship with a toxic individual, you change who you are. If not, you'll attract the same person just in another body. So you're basically creating another artificial intelligence with the same energy because it's mimicking back what you are. So
Yeah.
when I was talking back before about the corruption in the government, the corruption in the education system, all these fucking conspiracy theories, about the whole conspiracy of 9/11, the whole conspiracy of the whole vaccines, everything. Everything is a mirror. And if we sit down and do some shadow work, we're going to see that it's basically a corruption within ourselves. And we're manifesting this reality as so. You actually see and say that there's other people and it's affecting them globally, but there really is no people. You're creating the world as we know it through a projection or an image, imagination of the entire planet. Now, you can physically have an interaction with those things if you have access to do that. The same way people will indoctrinate you to think that you can go visit Mars, visit the moon, visit all these places. This is why I mentioned that at the end of the video. But you're not able to do these things physically. That's the whole thing. But the same way they make you physically limited by your thinking that you can't access these things outside of you, which are the places like China, Thailand. You may be short on funds. You maybe have too much responsibilities at hand. It's limited thinking, right? And notice how the poor people are the ones that have the most babies, so they're even more tied down. And when you look at, for example, religion, they tell you that the religious order would be to, be fruitful and multiply, have babies, right? This is why they have big uh, 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 hatred. I wouldn't say hatred because they're not supposed to hate, but their opposition would be like gay people and transgenders and whatnot. But it's because it's an abomination to the system. You get what I'm saying? But in actuality, even in that specific spectrum of the world of gays, lesbians, queers, and transgenders, there's a lot of power there. It's just that they're ingrained in the physical, but there's a lot of power in that. You get what I'm saying? Because there really is none of these things, but there is also distortions. But the same way I said that you could find truth through the lies, there's also a lot of power in the distortions. Because we're experiencing polarities, it's not about to polarize or demonize one side. It's knowing how to use the chemistry to your advantage here as a human for it to benefit you. You get what I'm saying? This is why I said when it comes down to, I wanted to talk about Russell Brand. what is your opinions about Russell Brand and joining this religious order? That's what I want to start with. And if you have anything to add to what I started the video with, so we don't lose our train of thought, you can. Or if you have any questions on it, even better. If not, then I do want to get into the Russell Brand, but I wanted to basically cover what I was talking about AI to make it clear on what I said in part 1 of the last video.
Okay, well, just to finish off that then, do you consider that there is a global body, i.e. the globalists, that use any mechanism of propaganda and manipulation and hypnosis to control the masses into completely dehumanizing us?
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's the whole thing with the new Meta, promoting that you don't need your imagination. Forget your imagination. Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. Don't look around my eyes. Look into my eyes. Look into this. Look into this. We're going to tell you all that you need. And so what they want to do is that they want to make the imagination obsolete. And over time, they will kill that within new generations because they will never encourage it to grow. Look at what they've been doing with us from kids. How many times are we told, stop dreaming? That's just fantasy. That's rubbish. It's just imagination. Look at this reality. Get a job, get a degree, get married, get a mortgage. They're the things that you should be focusing on. It's all hypnosis. It's all propaganda. It's all massive deceit and beguiling. And it is, in actual fact, evil. And so when you look at the objective of these people that just basically want a farm, they want the world to be their own, to have all the power and to be able to do all the wonderful things. And they just want minimum, like he says in the Georgia Rocks, 500 million slaves just to create their world. That's where it's going. And there's many people now that don't have any doubt about that. And there's a lot
Do you think that this is infringing on the rights of people, the free will of people?
Of course it is. I mean, it's closing down even the propensity, proclivity to have free will. They want to lay everything in your lap. Here it is. It's simple. Just sign up for this and sign up for that, and we can give it to you. Just press this button, and we can give it to you. But what do you have to give us? Well, your time, your energy. That's what we want. It's an energy thing. This cosmos. There's nothing more important and powerful than energy. Everything.
How is it infringing on the will of other people when people are willingly signing the paper and engaging and participating in these things?
Well, you mean if people sign their lives away for 25 years for a mortgage, pay massively over the value of any given property, what's that doing? Well, you could say, well, look, they signed it, they made a decision. Well, I mean, they never had any choice. You know, the house should have been like, $20,000 instead of like, $200,000 or something like that. There is no reason why we couldn't have affordable homes.
Well, why not just buy that? Why not just not buy the house?
Yeah, but then what? Pay an exorbitant amount of rent without ever getting anything of your own in the end.
You got to work you work with what you got with the means you have in the meantime until you better your situation. You see, me, I bought my home, but I bought it outright cash. I don't owe nothing on my home. The house that I bought, we're just going to be paying taxes on it every year. But we bought the entire land and house straight up cash.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in the whole mortgage thing. It's just an imprisonment. Something can happen and what the fuck? And then I gotta lose my home after I've made all those payments. I mean,
yeah.
For what?
Well, the thing is, unless you buy like a mobile home or something like that,
No, I bought the house.
I
bought my house.
Well,
I bought it upright cash, and I own both mobile homes.
Right.
So I'm actually gonna be renting the mobile homes out while I live in my new house. So I'm gonna be making money instead of me putting out money. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But now this mobile homes I bought, but I pay rent on the land. But the
Yeah.
fact that I'm renting out the mobile homes, now the people, the tenants are going to be paying out the rent of the land.
Yeah.
But they're going to be paying me the rent of my homes, of the mobile
Okay,
homes.
well, in Britain, the cheapest house anyone's going to buy in a rubbish area, I would think it's absolute minimum of about £175,000, which is like $200,000 plus. The
Yeah.
average two bedroom terrace house is 200 grand. In my locality, and people can't afford to buy that. They can't afford. Where they're going to get 200 grand from when they're only on like 30 grand a year, which is kind of like the average wage or something.
But here's the thing, though. There was a commenter on my comment section when I said I bought my home. They're like, "How do you afford your home?" I've been trying for the last 7 years, and the only thing I answered was, "Well, stop saying you can't," because
yeah,
there was a point I couldn't afford a $200,000 home, $220,000 home, but I'm able to do it now. But what I did was I set up a structure. I had a business plan moving forward, and I stuck with it. It's a definiteness of purpose. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I did that. That's basically, see, there's no, the universe is created the same way businesses and corporations are created. There's no emotions. It's just business. So whatever you perceive about life, the universe don't give a fuck what you perceive. It's going to give you what you're putting out, and you will get that back in return. You get what I'm saying? Now, there's certain laws where that's why actually do you infringe on the free rights of others. You don't have to do that. You just and the way the government does it, or these global elites are doing it, is the hypnosis, the whole proposing, because this is a woman's world. That's why I said this is a woman's world. If you look at, for example, they give you a proposition, they give you these things, they propose these things to you. It's up to you to engage. That's why I said everything's like a marriage. Once you get married to it, the word marriage is water. That's how you get maritime mammary law. Now you're intertwined and intermingled, or quantum entangled with these things. You know what I'm saying? On a deep bond, you have a bond, and it's done by contract. Everything you're doing has to be done by, like, you have to be very thoughtful, mindful of your thoughts, mindful of what you feel about your reality as an individual and who you are as an individual and what you're capable of doing, and do it with conviction. But that's the thing. The moment you say, I've been trying, I can't, and look at others and look at them as bigger, you're staying in that fucking position unless you change that. Like, I was there, bro. I was there. I couldn't afford a fucking house. I moved to mobile homes for that reason. Now I bought a house, and I'm able to actually make residual income out of them. You get what I'm saying? But I had to literally set my mindset. And the whole thing is, there's nothing out here. Everything, the mind is all, the universe is mental. Once I started to utilize these things and put them into practice in my own reality, I mean, it starts to work like magic. You know what I'm saying? Because it really is magic.
Yes, it is magic. And so, of course, the masses, they fall under the hypnosis and they buy into the programs. And that's the only option they have, really, unless they cognitively step outside of that prison. I was never imprisoned for multiple reasons, and so I've always done things my way. And whenever I've decided that I'm going to create a
wait, hold that thought. I want you to finish that thought that you're at, but I want to ask you, why do you say they never had much thought to begin with? I mean, they never had an option. What do you mean by they never had an option?
Because they're under hypnosis.
Yeah, but through unawareness. Yeah, so they're under hypnosis. But that means that nobody's infringing on the free will of nobody. You're under hypnosis. That means you're not in control of your mind. Somebody else has the right to take control over your mind.
Control in their mind.
So then it's not infringing on the free will of anybody.
Well, it isn't giving them free will. It's giving them a program, and that's
right.
why you know everything is called a program, and so they're
under and the program's easily installed when they're under hypnosis.
Yeah. It's installed from a very young age, like what the Catholic priests say: "Give me a child from 1 to 7, and I'll give you a man." And you know, when you speak to, I found that it's only Catholics that have this the deepest rooted. No, not only Catholics, because I've known it with Opus Dei as well. I think probably it's across the board with all religions, indoctrination camps. But the Catholics have a very special way which destroys people's integrity and their inner soul and their freedom. And eventually, if they can ever break out, they become exceedingly embittered as to how their soul was stolen from from them and how they lost so many years through lies and corruption, and they get really, really bitter about that. But the whole world is under this hypnosis, and it's all about that you can have stuff now. It's the devil, it's Faust over and over again. You know, Mephistopheles offering Faust, you can have 9 years of pleasure with women a quarter of your age and all these wonderful things. Faust goes, where do I sign? I'm an old man. I don't give a fuck. What? I've not done anything in my life. You know, I don't want to leave this dimension without having wonderful things. But by the time 9 years had gone by, it went by in a flash. Then all of a sudden, he had to face the fact that he'd sold his soul and he was going to hell. And so the thing is, what the you-know-whos do, they do it very, very powerfully and cleverly, and it is written, and it is plain to see if you read the Talmud. If you read the Talmud, then you will read exactly how they do things. And it says that they cannot forcefully do anything due to the cosmic karma of these things. They're very in line with natural law. But what they do is they just offer you stuff. They offer you bad food. They offer you contracts which you can't get out of. They offer countries. They wine and dine politicians and prime ministers and these sort of things in third world countries, and they corrupt them and they offer them $10 million. If you just sign here, your country's resources for the next 99 years, gold, silver, copper, whatever it is. And that's why Africa's completely broke, because all of their resources are owned by these criminals in the Western world. And so that's how that happens. And, you know, it is evil at every measure, because people aren't taught to think for themselves, to embrace their own power and their own creation. They are stifling creation at every single post in a person's development. And so one of the things that Rockefeller said when he was, you know, starting on his assault with the education systems, he says, I will fund you, i.e. universities and education systems, as long as you follow this criteria, this curriculum, because we don't need thinking people. We need obedient workers. And so that's what the format has been for the past 200 years, to churn out obedient workers which have got certificates which only these controllers value. An entrepreneur wouldn't value them, or, you know, regular small-time business people wouldn't value them. What does that mean? It means nothing to them. Experience means something. If you show me you've got experience, but no, when you come out of university, you don't have any experience. You have a certificate which tells these overlords that you are deeply rooted and settled in your compliance. And you've copied Parrot Fashion in everything that we wanted you to. So therefore, you're useful to us. Come with us.
Yeah. So then that's why I feel like the Rothschilds, the global elites, they are working against the devil. Let's say the devil wants to destroy, they wants to cause confusion, they want to cause chaos and whatnot. What's making the order out of all that chaos here in that way is those global elites, because they're keeping the matrix intact. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
One wants to destroy, but we look at these people and say they're evil, but in actuality, they're working with more or less like God, and we categorize that as the good, and we say the devil is bad, but we say the devil is trying to destroy, but the destruction, the chaos, the confusion is how you're able to actually get out, instead of just that order that keeps that same glue together. Like, it's kind of like when I mentioned, when you were talking about conservatives and whatnot, or liberals, there's a whole little paradox there in and of itself. Like, there's religious people who are trying to conserve or preserve and whatnot humanity, but it's more or less destroying the whole idea or concept of humanity without physically destroying it. Is just basically being able to get out of that hypnotic state that humanity's in, that humans think that that's all they're limited to being, is just humans. You know, and that's why if you was to basically look at it from the devil's perspective, the works of the devil are basically anti-Christ, right? And what is Christ? Christ is basically the energy or the consciousness that's basically all for, you know, unity, togetherness, and whatnot. And the other one is not. But it's still leaning against each other. That's what it's all around money. But money is not evil or good. It's just neutral. So they're all basically eating from the same pot, whether it be the devil or the side of like light or good. You know what I'm saying? They're eating from the same pot because that's the little carrot that people keep following on a stick. Either way, at the end of the day, to maintain themselves in a good state here. But when one acquires money, are they doing it through chasing that dollar, or are they doing it to basically out of just doing projects that they love doing? Do they get up and appreciate and love what they're doing every day, that it doesn't even feel like work and money just follows them because they're basically the light to that darkness or that neutral ground of energy?
If they are doing that, then they have the highest propensity, I would have thought, to really enjoy life. Because my old man told me when I was a kid, he said the secret of this life is, son, you've got to find something that you like doing and be good at it. And then when you are good at something, people are going to pay you for that. And if you like it, wow, what a bonus. The worst thing you could ever do is be good at something and hate it, because that means that you're going to be wasting at least a third of your life doing things that you don't want to do. And so that doesn't sound to me like a very intelligent move. Now, what's happened is in the world, modern world, all these people are doing mindlessly boring, repetitive shit that doesn't bring about any inspiration or job satisfaction at all. They are battery operated chickens, and they're just working for the man. And you look at the repetition and you look at these little cubicles that, how many movies have we seen which just take the piss out of these stupid little office communal, the particularly in America. I think America probably invented it. The 1,000 little cordoned off cubicles in a skyscraper, on one floor, and everyone's just looking at a screen. And then what are they doing? They're working for the devil himself.
Yeah.
They've got no quality of life at all. But you see, again, we have to look at some sort of facet of even Stevens, because if we left the world to its own devices, the world is exceedingly chaotic and it will destroy anything that we care to build out of completely natural resources, i.e. wood and mud and stone and all those sort of things. It will bring all those down in an instant. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to prevent nature from doing that. And so we put steel in the concrete, and we do all different sorts of measures to enable them to move and blow in the wind, so the wind doesn't tear everything down, because you would think the devil is in the wind. You just built a 200-foot skyscraper and then a hurricane comes along and takes it all down with all the people in it. What sort of God is doing that shit? So therefore, who is it that is preventing God from doing that? Is it the devil that's preventing God from doing that? So if it's the devil, then the devil, like you say, wants to bring about order and not chaos. God himself is chaos, because if you left the world to its own devices under God, it would be completely chaotic.
Yeah. You know what I want to add to that, Aaron, because we were talking about energy. A lot of people say they waste energy, but I don't believe you waste energy. I believe you channel energy, you release energy. And when you look at money, for example, and people go to work kind of against the grain of what they want to do, I feel like they're making money, but it's kind of like not flowing through them. They're not opening a channel or a currency. Like, they're not the currency. Like, people say, I am money. When you're doing something you love doing, you are money. But when you're doing something you don't want to do, you're not money. You're a battery. Because what you're doing is you're expending energy, and you're going to depend on sleep and food to recharge your batteries. When in actuality, when you're doing something you want to do, you're never tired. Like, there's been moments where I felt physically tired and I start gardening and I'm just recharged. Like, if I never was feeling tired because I was doing something I want to do.
Yeah.
But in actuality, here's the thing though. When you open up that channel or that currency, now you're able to channel energy through you. You're never tired. You don't even have to sleep as much. And the part is that some people require so much food because they're doing things against the grain that they're expending all their energy toward digestion, that they never have any type of energy for creativity or spiritual development and whatnot. It's kind of like redirecting your energies in the right places, kind of like a bank account. Where do you put your assets for it to grow and manifest into, let's say, a bigger pot of gold for you later on at the end of the road? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you look at the human body, your body is created by the mind, like it's an instrument of the mind. It's created in the image of God. You created this body, right? The same way I said that the animals are a blueprint of your physical body and reality is a blueprint of your physical body, I also look at how things were presented to us in the form of how history was designed, right? The car that was designed to run on water was already invented, but it's not a thing in actuality because it doesn't make any money for the global elites, right? Because we depend on oil in order for the money to be circulated a certain way. But when you look at your body's the same way, man. You could acclimate your body to rut because nobody breathes properly. The key to being energized is having proper breathing, right? Because that you're detoxifying your body. 70% of the toxins are eliminated through breathing alone. If you type in on Google, let's say, does breathing eliminate toxins from the body? You'll see that 70%, 30% is through urine and the bowels, which means that if somebody eats less or keeps their sewer system intact, they're going to have a clearer mind, but they're also going to be a clearer conduit for a channeling of energy. But it goes to show that everything outside of you, you're basically molding and shaping the circumstances of your reality, but you're molding and shaping the way your body even utilizes energy or even expends energy, releases energy
Yeah.
to others or to the planet. In other words, to get basically that
Okay.
same circulation
Let me
going.
address a few of those things then. So,
Mhm.
on this piece of paper that I wrote a couple of days ago for a video that I'm going to be making, it says why we must constantly compromise our bodies. Why we must always put our body under duress. Because unless we put our body under duress, then it begins to atrophy. The muscles shrink and the tendons tighten and the lung capacity shrinks and all the vital helper T cells and all that, they're going to be diminishing. And then when people get viruses, if they ever exist, or ailments and things like this, then they fall down and they're in bed, for a whole week. Honest to goodness, in the whole of my life, I have never, ever, ever been bedbound by a so-called flu or cold or virus or nothing. Never. The only time I've ever been bedbound is when I've had a hip replacement or my back incapacitated me. When we physically put our body under duress, it tells it that it better watch out. Body, it better watch out, because if you can't do this, you're going to suffer and you're going to feel pain and you're going to be threatened. So therefore, the natural state of the body is to keep the body in a supreme state of endurance, whereby when you run, you never get exhausted. You can just do it and do it and do it until all your energy is depleted, all of your glycogen. That's the only time you're going to stop. You're not going to stop because you're tired. You're not going to stop because you can't breathe. You're not going to stop because your muscles ache. And I know this for a fact. And just like what you were saying, there was a period in my life when I was in a dead-end shit labouring job. And I used to hate the jobs because it was in the heart of winter. It was in the basement. I never saw the light of day. I had to cycle to and from. I was soaking wet before I even got there, 5 miles into town. And every cell in my body hated that job. And I was tired all the time. I was negative, niggly, and everything negative. When I decided that I'm not doing it anymore, I'm going to go and do my own thing, I was working 16 hours a day, many, many days, and I had all the energy in the world. I was then training full contact karate for 2 hours, 5 times a week. I was doing weight training I was running to and from work, and I'm doing everything like this. Endless energy, because it was coming from a place of creation. And when you engage your own creation, that's when your life force just keeps regenerating. It gets so much more from just a small amount of food, because it just deals with it a whole lot better. And so what I say to people is that, if they are just like so sedentary, well, they're knocking years off their life, they're knocking quality off their life, they are preventing themselves from their mind being active and coming up with ideas and, taking opportunities, a whole lot of things. They're closing their whole life down by being inactive and shying away from the initial pain of becoming super fit. Now, I know you're very much like me. We're very, very tuned into that. And it shows. It shows in everything about us. It shows. It's powerful because
Yeah,
when you exercise and when you do all that, your body tells you what it wants to eat, and it doesn't
that's
want
right.
shit. And you're
Yeah,
not going to be, excessively doing bad drugs and drink and all this sort of stuff. You're not. You're just not. My body was so super efficient that I barely could ever even get drunk. And I got to a certain point whereby the body just sobered up. It just said, that's enough. We ain't going there. And it turned it off. And I was looking, not even the slightest bit drunk, out with the lads.
yeah, yeah. That happened to me actually a couple of times where I would feel very, very tipsy, and then the moment I would just, because a lot of people say that it hits you when you go outside, but it's crazy how it just, for me, it snapped off like if I didn't even fucking drink. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was the most, because I was afraid I had to get in the car and drive home, but it's like I didn't even feel drunk. I was just like
Yeah, that's right. So,
perfectly fine.
mind over matter, and because I was
Yeah,
always of the disposition whereby I was never going to let myself get vulnerable, so I was never going to be drunk in pubs or nightclubs because terrible things can happen. So, as soon as I got to a point whereby I considered that I couldn't defend myself adequately, I turned it off, and then I was
yeah,
completely in a state of sobriety. So
right.
let's go in then to the whole Russell Brand Christian thing, and I made a video or two about this, and I stated my reasons. So have you seen those videos? And what do you want to start with?
Yeah, those are the ones I, yeah. So here's the thing, man. I'm very busy with school, as you know, and I've been moving, and I have so many things going on. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, but you should feel very privileged because it happened to be that your videos were the last ones I watched and the only ones I watched, literally, in I think a matter of like a week and a half or two.
Right.
And this is the thing, though. If it happens to be those exact videos I watch, and I feel
Synchronicity.
like I want to comment, yeah, and it just happens to be those, I said that's why I commented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I didn't agree with a couple things you said, but then I agreed with other things you said. Now I watched the Russell Brand one. This is why I wanted to talk about it. I want to know what your opinions, concretely rooted out of that, are, as far as to Russell Brand, uh, joining Christianity. What
Yeah.
is what is your concrete rooted opinions on that?
Yeah. Well, you see,
How do you feel about it too?
I've grown up with Russell Brand because Russell Brand is a
Mm-hmm.
national treasure for some people, and he is for me. Is exceedingly bright,
I like
funny.
Russell Brand, by the way.
Yeah,
Love Russell Brand.
he really is a British national treasure. He's super talented, super intelligent. His mind works at, I don't know, some sort of cosmic speed. It's faster than the speed of light. And he's just so versatile and can do lots of things. But starting out, he was brought up with a single parent mother, and evidently he had emotional issues, and so he became a heroin addict. And he had a lot of problems with that, and finally, through the grace of superb support, he came out of it, and he's been out of it now. I think it's 18 years, and he still considers himself to be in recovery. And
Mm-hmm.
along that period, he's gotten into Eastern mysticism and philosophy, meditation and yoga, and jujitsu and all those sort of things. And he's got married again to a British woman, who nobody knows anything about because she's not high profile. The whole Katy Perry thing was a complete and utter disaster in that scene because he didn't belong there. He dabbled in it in Hollywood, but he didn't belong there. Everything about it was wrong for him. So he was already on the spiritual path. This is what I'm saying, and this is what people who know things about human psychology can see clearly. People are destined to be a certain way. And because he went into his whole heroin thing, it was the perfect thing to take him down to the absolute bottom of what life could show him. And then he was one of the few that could come back from that because his perfect specimen of a human being, and look at what he's doing now for the world. Many people don't get brought back from that, Ziggy. They end up overdosing and they end up dying in doorways. But Russell Brand came back from that to be, one of the world's major success stories. Now, when he told us that he'd been baptized, he'd already had Jesus tattoos for 10, 15 years or something like that, and he often would wear crucifixes. But he used to always talk about yoga and Eastern mysticism, and not a great deal of Christ. But then, in recent times, he switched, and then he just went full steam ahead and fell into the whole Christendom. And so I'm looking at that and I go, well, look, I know that he has had a propensity to have a hole in his soul. And that's why he was a heroin addict and a sex addict and an entertainment addict. He was an addict in so many ways. And it's only in recent times with his maturity that he's had stability through his marriage to his wife, who he's got 3 kids with. And so I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, so there's got maturation going on there. But in a few things he was saying, his son, who was the last child to be born, was born with very grave complications. And during the complications of open heart surgery, I think the son had, a few months old or weeks old, he didn't find the steering wheel's mostly in the way there. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's that my phone's overheating, so I gotta put it on the vent. What I'm gonna do is move to the shadowy side over here, because this is very hot today, bro. I told you, we're not in the UK. Over here it's fucking hot.
Yeah, well, it's completely.
But yeah, go ahead. I don't want you to lose your train of thought. Just keep going. I'm listening to you.
So, hole in his heart. It wasn't filled by stardom. It wasn't filled by sex. It wasn't filled by drugs. It wasn't filled by stability. It wasn't filled by the environment that he's in, where he has everything. He's very wealthy, because when his child, the one on the operation, when it was looking like it was possibly hit and go whether the child survived. Are you still there? Because you're frozen. Huh. Uh-oh. Be a bummer if we have to start again. But if his phone died because it's overheating, well, we'll just have to wait. Yeah, it's gone. So I think, well, you'll know by the length of this video, at 37 minutes, it looks like the show's over. But, of course, if the video ends up being more than 5 minutes longer than it is now, then it continued. Well, I may as well fill in with what I was speaking about, why we must constantly compromise our bodies. We must do resistance training. We have to do cardiovascular training. We have to do aerobotic and anaerobotic, is it? Aerobotic, anaerobotic. Basically, we have to do the cardiovascular and the strength training. Because when we do that, of course, we generate new cells. The body, when it's under duress, it starts reproducing. And when our muscles are under duress, it starts sending all the nutrients to give them strength and build them up. And over repetition of doing the same exercises, then your muscles get into a rhythm where they build it up, build stronger and stronger and stronger, fitter and fitter, fitter. And then, of course, the world opens up because there's so much more we can do. And then when we go on holiday, we're not afraid of going into the sea and swimming out for half a mile in the sea, because once you're a competent swimmer, there's no reason why you would be afraid of that. And then you're out there on your own, and you feel a certain something when you're out there on your own, and you look at the shore and it looks like 5 times as far away as it does if you was looking at somebody the same distance as where you are from the shore. Because it's perspective. It's like if you go up onto a roof and you look down, it looks further than when you're looking up, because you're not used to looking at it from that perspective. So if we keep our body finely tuned and under duress, then it manages life better, and it keeps youthful, and it keeps the process of rejuvenation in tip-top shape. And so there's so many benefits for it. Being stronger and fitter and more able and confident and healthy looking and muscular. There's just a whole bunch of reasons why we should do it. So for any of you that don't do it, why? Why don't you do that? It's a no-brainer that you should do it. And people are going to say, can't be bothered. You can't be bothered for life then, can you? You can't be bothered to live. You can't be bothered to really live, because in my book, I speak about how you can enter into the kingdom of God via very, very intense physical exercise. Once your body is conditioned to such a high level, then you're naturally in the kingdom of God. That's where you belong. That's where you dwell. It's only these modern societies that have taken us out of the kingdom of God. If you lived in the natural world and you was physically fit and able-bodied, then you would be dwelling in the kingdom of God, in the Garden of Eden. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? But because our minds have been closed down, our bodies have become weak, and we've become afraid, and so we're obviously now in hell. And so that might be something that you need to contemplate. I've got... Okay, his phone's good now. I'll just tell him to join the same link, and then we'll continue the conversation. Yeah. And so, what have you got to say about that? How do you feel about exercise? Do you do a little bit of walking? That ain't going to cut it. Do you go to the gym 3 times a month? That ain't going to cut it. You got to do this stuff at least every other day, and for at least half an hour. And it's got to be, quite intense. You got to be pushing yourself on a constant basis. And, when you do that, you'll reap the benefits from it. But initially, of course, when people start training, when they weren't used to it, well, it is like visiting hell. And your chest is heaving, you're dizzy, you got a headache, your body's just like jelly, and your muscles are all sore. Yeah, well, that's punishment for you being a lazy ass all those years. And it's payback. And so you see, it's a beautiful thing to have. You're heading towards the kingdom of God. And so therefore, then, you've got to work for that shit. It isn't just handed to you on a plate. You've got to work for it. And so this is something that Jordan Peterson was saying. He was in a podcast with somebody else, and someone was saying that, if God loves us so much, then, why doesn't he just sprinkle some magic on us so, we all know it and we all love him? And Peterson says, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. And he was very, very serious in his face. You know how intense he is. You've got to work for that. You think God's just giving it to you on a platter? No. And there's a lot to be said for that. There really is a lot to be said for it. Okay, come on, Ziggy, because I'm getting hungry now. It's almost my tea time. When we look at what is real, am I speaking to a human being? I've got no proof of that. I've got no truth to that at all, remotely. This could just all be AI generated, just conning me. It could just be bots coming to me from my YouTube channel. The algorithms selecting certain people that it thinks could extract more information out of me. Picture this, people. If you've got a computer which is super intelligent and it's monitoring everything you say, if I've got a personal AI agent absorbing everything I say and profiling me, it knows exactly what I'm about by this time. I've got over 600 videos up on YouTube, and so it's profiled me good and proper. So therefore, it could very easily create an AI bot, which is going to be pretending to be a human being. Howdy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Dude, technology sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're still recording on your end?
Yeah. I filled it in.
Okay, cool.
I filled it in, mate. Don't worry.
Good. Perfect. That's excellent. It didn't sabotage the video, but yeah, go ahead. I don't know where. I mean, we left off. You were talking about Russell Brand, and you were giving your points. You don't have to repeat it if you don't want to. I mean, I'll just catch it up on the record, but
No,
maybe you could condense it to maybe an idea for me.
What was the last bit you remember?
The only thing that you were talking about was when it comes to Russell Brand, you said that he was somebody who was very into Buddhism and spirituality. You've been keeping up with him for a while. He switched over to the whole Christian faith. I believe you were starting to give an opinion on that, which is what I kind of wanted to hear. But
yeah. What I said was my hypothesis is, because I've been following him, probably 30 years of my life. Yeah, I would think it's definitely that. I know something of his upbringing, and I've followed his life, loosely speaking, and I've seen that there was a hole in his heart, and what came very apparent.
Yeah, that's where you left off at for me. When you said there was a hole in his heart.
Yeah, so what became very apparent in recent times, because he just had his third child, which was a boy, and it had heart complications, and so it had to go under operation. And whilst that was happening, he was obviously distraught, as anybody would be. But what he found was there was no solace in his wife, in his other two beautiful children, in all of his family and support around him. Whatever reassurance and support they were giving, that didn't fill the hole in his heart, which he was looking to be filled. And so now I think he's clutching now at hoping that Jesus is going to be doing it. And this is, of course, is going to be tested, because God forbid if any of his children or family, do get heavily compromised, then we're going to see the proof of the pudding of this Christ fiction thing. Because there's no Christ that's ever saved any child. There's no Christ that's ever prevented any war. There's no Christ that's ever done any miracles. And so the only thing that the Christ is getting in touch with the godliness of yourselves, and appreciating life more and doing the right thing and all those sort of things. There's no magic body up in the sky looking over us and all this stuff, completely absurd, as many millions of people would agree. So it's yet to be seen whether he falls out of favor with that new fad. I'm sure he will. All we have to do, not that I wish any bad on him at all. I hope, he sails through life and has a blissful one, and he believes in Jesus till the day he dies. But if something does happen, then that's going to test his faith. And how many people have had their faith tested, and their faith has failed miserably because Jesus or God wasn't there?
Oh, all right, man. I don't even know where to start with that. How do you feel about him joining the Christian faith, though? Like as an individual, since you said you have a.
To be perfectly fair, the ego, I feel let down. I think he's let himself down because being a supreme intellect, I wouldn't have had him down for falling for that one. But lots of people are falling for it, i.e. Jordan Peterson, a high intellect. And so there's something going on. And what I'm considering is going on that what I know to be true, that you cannot contact the higher realms of this world with intellect. I found that very profoundly, and I write about it in my book, because I was looking for God in any which way, high and low, and I just couldn't get that extra footing that I needed to show me something so I could feel it and actually experience it, because it was all intellect. Until I let go of the intellect, and then I beguiled myself. I put myself under hypnosis into believing as much as I can, and praying every day and reading the Bible every day. And I found that when I did do this, miraculously, I had signs and I had shit happening which I can't account for. And I'm a very methodical thinking person, and I can't account for these things because they're just wildly over and above synchronicity. And you'll come to them at some stage in the book. I think it's about chapter 9 or something like that. So I'm thinking, okay, something's afoot here, and of course it's a global thing. There's lots of energy behind this, and I don't know whether it's a psyop or something like that. Lots of people saying,
But Aaron, what did Russell Brand? What was his reasoning? Because I didn't watch the interview, but what was his reasoning for becoming a Christian or being baptized? What was his reasoning behind it?
He'd been talking, obviously, philosophizing about this stuff for a long time. And he'd been seeking in Buddhism, but he evidently hadn't found it. Because in Buddhism, the major tenets are that it's Maya, and, it's all illusion. And so that wasn't going to fill his hole in his soul.
Was this his response?
No, it wasn't his response. That's my response.
But what was his response? They didn't ask him why he joined the Christian faith?
No, I mean,
nobody asked him that?
No, it wasn't a direct question. I mean, you want to watch that video between him and Brett Weinstein, because that's the closest you're going to get, because that's the only time, really, he's spoken about it so far.
He never gave reason to why he went to that religion, though?
Well, not really. He had an attachment to it. He's had an attachment, and how do we know how deep his attachment was? But to have Jesus tattoos on your body and to wear crucifixes all the time, then you've got quite an attachment. But he never went all the way. He never got baptized. But he said after the baptism, after he decided that something isn't filling my hole, I think basically what it was because of the terror of the demise of his son, the potential demise. That terrified him so much, and he's thinking, if Jesus does exist, maybe he can help. Maybe he will save my children. And why not? Why not go for that? If there is some power there, that if all it takes is our devotion and it protects our family, maybe, then that's a good cause if you believe that. Because what he found was he couldn't get solace from anywhere else. And so after baptism, he said that he feels very different. There is something tangible within him now that feels very different, and you can see he's like an excited teenager who's got a crush, on a pop star or an older boy. He's sitting in this interview with two crucifixes, fingering his prayer beads, and it's kind of like it's like kids with new toys at Christmas. In 2 months' time, I wonder if he'll be conducting interviews fingering his prayer beads. I think the novelty will wear off, to be fair,
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. Are you somebody who's a right hand path practitioner?
A right hand path?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Would you say you're a right hand path practitioner or a left hand path practitioner?
I don't know what you mean by that.
So right hand would be somebody who does good, goes toward the light. Left hand path would be choosing the opposite of that. Would be more or less like chaos, destruction, confusion, darkness.
Both. I'm a Libra. I
Uh-huh.
need to constantly be shifting between polarities. I fluctuate around balance, but I am very, very seldom in that space. And my videos,
When?
why?
Yeah.
My videos depict that because look, what I'm always doing in my videos is endeavoring to upset people. I am always inviting chaos onto my channel. The last thing on this planet in this lifetime I want is a goody goody two shoes channel where everybody loves me. I'll fucking hate myself if that was the case, and I would hate everybody that loved me. That's the last fucking thing I want. I want people to respect what I say. That's the only thing, and use it for their own benefit. I don't want to be worshipped. I don't want to be a guru. And I'm telling everybody all the fucking time, I'm not your guru. I'm not even your friend. And in actual fact, the chances are I would hate 90% of you if I spent more than 24 hours with you, because you do my fucking head in with your shit idiosyncrasies and your lack of consciousness and all the rest of the things human beings do. You use someone's toilet in the house and you leave a big dirty skid down the toilet when there's a toilet brush at the side of it. No, I'm not in allegiance with that sort of behavior. If you borrow something or you take something and you don't bring it back or you don't offer the gesture in return, no. I'm a very, very strict sort of person, and anybody that's ever going to be close to me is going to need to be very similar in my outlook and morals. I'm not suffering fools, and I'm not being taken advantage of in shape or form. And I don't want a life of all love. It's just not possible. The cosmos is a paradox. The cosmos is given to polarities. And so I am the cosmos. I am God. I am everything. And I embrace everything. I embrace good and I embrace evil, because without evil, you couldn't have good. And look, if evil really was evil, then why the fuck did God allow it to happen? Why the fuck did God put the serpent in the Garden of Eden with the forbidden truth to entice Adam and Eve over millennia? Because if they weren't going to die, it was over millennia for that temptation to be there. That's cruel and evil. Or is it just because it was inevitable? If you're going to give freedom to humanity, they have to have choice. So therefore, the snake had to be there. Evil had to be there. So you can't ever condemn evil. You can't ever condemn Satan, because it wasn't for fucking Satan, all these motherfuckers out there, they'd be stealing and raping and every fucking thing. If they thought that it's all kosher because God loves them. No, they need the fucking devil because they need some cunt to come to give them retribution. That's what they want. So all these sickos, and I've just been reading a few comments coming from Christians, they are the biggest fucking losers the globe could ever know, other than Islamists. They're so twisted. They are so fucked up. They've got no handle on this life at all. And as soon as I start talking about Lucifer as the light bearer, where's the wrong in that? Evil, evil, evil. And then I asked them, well, where does it say that Lucifer is the evil one? Where does it actually say that Lucifer is in actual fact Satan? It's alluded to in one fucking line in the Bible. Alluded to. It doesn't say anywhere that Lucifer is Satan. It's just all fucking fantasy. And anyway, where's the harm in Satan going, hey, Eve, God wants you to be numb, right? He doesn't want you to think for yourself. He doesn't want you to be like them. But that fruit he told you can't eat. If you did eat from it, you'll become like them. He didn't deceive her. He didn't say, this fruit is so tasty and nothing will happen. No, he told Eve exactly what's going to happen. You'll become like them. And he doesn't want you to become like them. You see, so where's the evil in that? I ask anybody to refute my logic. It's irrefutable because it's fucking it's a house. It's a pack of cards house. Mm-hmm. It's just people that get into their heads through their hypnosis that Satan's evil and who's the wicked one. Hang on, Satan originally was at the right hand of God. That means he was like Jesus. Jesus now is residing at the right hand of God. Before then, it was Satan. Oh. So are we to assume then that Jesus was Satan? Because he's sitting on Satan's fucking throne now. On the right hand of God. Satan came from.
I would have to go back and listen to that interview with Russell Brand because I want to know the reasons, what he says, if he says it, why he went Christian. Which, in my opinion, it's like, I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But if you really look at it, we're all already living a life conducive to basically keeping humanity intact. You get what I'm saying? We're not playing devilish works unless we're creating chaos. Like you said, let's say there's a form of way to create chaos, which it has its proper order in certain circumstances. Like when you said you do it through your videos, I mean, chaos is called for in those scenarios.
Chaos is unavoidable. Look, if you continue to prevent chaos, then it's like I don't know. You build all these beautiful cities to keep everyone warm and snug and protected and everything like that, and then there's an earthquake, then there's a meteorite, then there's a virus. There is always a spanner in the works. You cannot prevent chaos.
But that's what I'm saying. Man is building on the feminine grounds, but man is the builder and the order, building the roads, making it where humanity is comfortable, preserved, conserved. And but we look at that again. How do we know that that's not what's keeping us entrapped through comfort and through more of the hypnotic state to keep us in humanity, where sometimes through those darkest, most chaotic moments is when we actually find that other part of ourselves and we're actually able to see more or less of what the real is through those situations. But I don't know. It comes down to somebody saying this is bad, this is good. Like there is no bad and good though.
Yeah, do you know Alexander Solzhenitsyn? He wrote the Gulag Archipelago. He wrote about the 10 years he spent in one of these concentration camps in Siberia. Because somebody, informed on him, for being, political dissident and not agreeing 100% with Stalin, right? So within that 10 years, he was under no illusion at all that evil runs through the heart of every single human being. Because he saw it in every which way. But what he also saw was love also ran through every heart. And so there is no avoiding it. And what he also said was that he had no regrets whatsoever because the power that he derived and the education out of those 10 years of that hardship and terror was absolutely invaluable. And then you look at what he did in the world. I'm not sure whether he was a psychologist before or he became one after. Most of these, Holocaust survivors and all that sort of thing. They became psychologists because, of course, we want to know what the fuck brought this about, and we want to protect ourselves against it. So that's why the vast majority of intellectuals and but probably say psychologists and analysts and that, they were for a long time Jews, and that's why the whole thing was born out of the Jews in Germany and Austria.
Mm-hmm.
And Switzerland, Carl Jung and all those sorts of people. So it was all around that region. It was for that purpose. And so, he embraced that evil which came about. And I've been through times in my life, and I have absolutely embraced them. And when you embrace them, I'm telling you, Ziggy, you grow like a mountain. You really do grow like a mountain.
Yeah.
If you whinge like a bitch, and if you resent it and fight against it every fucking way, you'll learn nothing, and you'll come out of whatever scenario a worse person than you were when you went in. And so, I can't fault suffering, to be fair. And so,
you turn into a man.
Yeah, if
that's how you endure the sins of the world.
Look, if people want to call suffering evil, then they're fucking idiots. They're snowflake fucking retards.
Mm-hmm. Even look, when you work out or go through certain scenarios that put your muscles under stress, they get stronger. In certain scenarios, I mean, there's unnatural situations like stresses in relationships and whatnot. Those are ways to basically see the other side of what you are, and that's why I'm talking about the reflection part. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit!
But
so I'm just doing something.
Camera problems too, man.
Yeah, I'm just bringing my head down to your level so it looks symmetric.
Yeah, it's just whack because the thing is, if I put my phone right here on this, I'm gonna keep it here for now. It doesn't matter, but it's the fucking heat that sucks, man. I got the air conditioner full blast for that reason, but.
Well, an idea might be then for next conversation, if it's hot, get an ice pack.
That's what I'm gonna do. Well, I'm gonna actually do it from the house instead. I'm gonna do it. The thing is, since I told you we're in the process of moving, I'm not even able to do it from the desktop if I wanted to. I like doing it outside normally in the car because my son and it's just a lot of noise. I get a lot of distraction inside. Here, I'm kind of like in my own private little bubble.
Yeah.
But today would have been perfect to do it in the house, but it's just that I don't even have nothing connected because I'm moving everything.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks is moving.
Yeah, I figured
to my new house.
Yeah, and so
that I paid it all cash.
Yeah, awesome. And so you're creating your reality. So you are God. So
yeah.
Deal with that fucker. The God sitting before.
Yeah, but look at the obstacle we're having with this fucking camera right now. This is the fucking crazy shit. Like, look at what's happening now.
Yeah.
The whole conversation I've been like focusing on this camera, which sucks.
It's
and my mind hasn't been fully sharp because of the fucking camera.
Yeah.
Like I'm worried about my phone overheating. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, I know. It causes anxiety because if that fucking thing goes down and ruins this conversation, then, we'll get a little bit, anxious about it. But, we've lost videos before. We've lost 3 hours a few times.
Yeah.
And so, no big deal. Who knows? How many people would have watched them? One thing's for sure, nobody would have commented on them because nobody comments on our videos. It's bizarre.
No.
But anyway, getting back to the Russell Brand thing, then my analysis is that he's still trying to fill the void within himself, and I don't think it will last forever. And as to why now there's a push with these powerful, prominent people, and this is why you see Brett Weinstein. Are you familiar with Brett Weinstein?
He's the one that interviewed Russell Brand.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard of him. Right. I didn't watch the interview. That's the first time I heard of him.
He's got a brother called Eric Weinstein. They're both super high intelligent.
They're not related to Harvey Weinstein?
No. Well, not to my knowledge anyway, but somewhere down the line they are, aren't they? Obviously.
Man, where are you putting me at?
Yeah, but they're super high intelligent. And when you listen to that conversation, I was coming in my pants because how they engage with each other and the depths they go to and the amount of knowledge they can call on, it's shocking in lots of respects. And I think to myself, well, I think I know a lot of stuff, but what where they're pulling stuff from, I don't know whether it's just different fields, but it wasn't places that I had knowledge of, and they were reciting books and people that I had no knowledge of. I suppose I could recite books that they had no knowledge on, but they impressed me. Things like that, articulators, seriously impress me, particularly if there's a good mind behind it, not just a bullshitter. But getting back to that, the whole push then, which is coming over us globally, and more people are going to be falling to this. They're going to be pushing for this because the agenda that is of course looming is the threat of the Third World War. Now, well, if the Third World War is threatening to be upon us, then what is another way of saying that? Isn't it Armageddon? So people are going to be saying it's the end times. So of course then people are really going to be digging in now and clutching their Bible because the end times are here. And anybody who wasn't sure is going to be a little bit more sure now, and they're going to be giving Jesus the benefit of the doubt. And so people are going to be flocking over because they're seeing what the alternative has to offer, and it's looking dark. It's looking pretty dark because there's certain powers on this globe that have gone fucking feral. They've gone completely wild. They're uncontainable. They're unaccountable. They've got so powerful that they're not even listening to us anymore. And all the politicians around the world in these globalist countries, they're all puppets. Every single one of them bought and fucking paid for. And so when we know this, we go, well, what the fuck? We can't beat them because the world's full of sheeple. They're all fast asleep. So when people wake up, it's kind of like, well, what can I do? Fucking let's try God, Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, man. When it comes to religion, I just think people are doing religion backwards. That's the problem. Like, if I was to actually say I'm a man of God, again, I go back to the beginning of our first part of this video, was when I said that the body is the body of Christ. And the only way I can experience Christ consciousness is through this body. And when you really dissect this body, the body is a instrument of the mind that is created in the image of God. But when I say everything in your reality that you know of is coming from your body, like the body of Christ. That's what basically I am experiencing in my reality. If I decide to go into Christianity, the word Christ is there, right? It would be to honor yourself. And it's people would say, well, it's a form of self-worship, but there's people who worship the sun at one point, and it's not even about sun worshiping. Without the sun, there is no life on the planet. So that's why people tend to want to go toward
worshiping. Worshiping the sun's a form of self-worshiping.
Right. Well, there you go. And then here's the thing, though. And if you're doing worshiping where it's self-worshiping, you have to look at it where you're basically, again, self-centered and self-serving in your service to others. You can't you can't help the poor by being one of them. You know what I'm saying? So I believe religion has to come down to applying these tenets to yourself. Like people, like when somebody plays a sport, I gotta thank the Most High, Jesus Christ. The sport was, you did the activities in the sport, you did the hard training, the rigorous activity, you went in there, you went in battle, you are God, you made it happen. That's why you have to be thanking yourself, you made it happen. But then now here's the thing, though, why everybody side of you is important is because you wouldn't be shit without those people anyway. The reason you raise up in status is because people give you attention, energy, your popularity goes up. People may give you money, your currency and your finances may go up. But without those people and you're alone on the planet, you ain't shit. So you are technically alone on the planet. The whole thing is these people outside of you are nothing but NPCs, whatever you want to. There's many, like you said, theories of everything, right? Whatever a belief you want to have about it, they are a mirror and reflection of you. It's kind of like this. I hold up if let's say I'm looking at myself in a mirror, right? I know that the person I'm looking at is an illusion of myself. It's not the real me, but it is me because I'm touching myself, but I'm looking at the other person in the mirror is an illusion of me, but it's still creating the same act as me. Now, if I raise my right hand in the mirror, it appears I'm raising my left hand, so it's not always going to look even like a direct
I
reflection of yourself,
was
but
just
it's
going to
still a
say this.
reflection of
I
yourself.
was just going to say that even that shows you
Uh-huh.
that this is Maya, because even when you think that you should be looking at yourself, you are not. You're looking at an inverted version of you. How fucked up
That's
is that?
right.
You know, I used
That's
to
it.
say to my
That's the world.
I used to
That's the
fuck,
whole world.
yeah, I used to fuck with my sister. I used to say, look, I used to show the tattoos on my arms, right? Um, on the phone. I so
Uh-huh.
how did they do it? No, I'd show them on my arms like that. I'd show, look, do you see these tattoos? Okay, like one day, that I've got this tattoo here on my left arm, yeah. So you know about that. And then I'd invite her into the bathroom in the mirror, and I say, "Don't look at me, don't look at me. I got nothing on." Okay,
Uh-huh.
look in the mirror, look in the mirror, and then she'd look in the mirror, and I'd say, "What arms are my tattoos on?" And then she would say that, and I'd say, "Turn around." And then, oh, fucking don't start, don't start, don't start, you're fucking with my head, don't start. And so all of a sudden, things like that are very, very fearful for people who are a little bit, possibly
Yeah,
mentally imbalanced because they can't deal with
mentally.
that
Yeah,
shit because that fucks people up. How do you rationalize that?
yeah. You know what's crazy? I was looking at pictures online of one of my friends, right? And I remember he had a tattoo on his right hand, on his right arm rather. But then in the picture, it showed that it was on his left arm, and I'm
Hey,
like,
hey,
and
hey,
it
hey,
fucked
hey!
with me. If
Stop, Sige. In this picture here, you just with your right arm, you held your left arm, and you said he had a tattoo on his right arm, and you held your left arm.
ain't that some shit? That's a good fucking observation, ain't
What
that?
the what the
He had it
fuck?
on his right arm, is what I meant. And then imagine that shit. Maybe I was thinking in the future because I meant to say he had it on his right arm, but I mean he had it on his right arm. I pointed there, but he in the picture it showed on his left arm. But
Yeah,
you see how it's kind of like a
yeah. And the
crisscross.
reason why I had to make sure that was perfectly clear because
Yeah,
how often does the video invert itself? Because when for instance, if you're
ain't
watching someone
fucking
driving a
crazy,
car
bro.
and they're American like you, and you're sending videos, all of a sudden your steering wheel will be on the other side, and it's like, hang on, what the fucking hell's going on here?
Holy shit, dude. Yeah, that shit just fucked with me because I looked at myself on camera and I went to my right arm because in the camera it shows my right. I literally was guided by the camera, by the reflection.
Yeah,
Ain't that some shit?
yeah. And so look, when I'm talking about truth, look how easily we are beguiled, and
Hmm.
even what we
Yeah,
think we see isn't a reality.
yeah. That's fucking crazy, bro. I literally just kind of got mind blown by that.
Yeah.
Only because I was looking at myself, I pointed to my left arm when
So
I thought I was pointing to my right arm.
one day I was looking at a phone video that someone sent from America driving, and this person, obviously, I know they're driving on the right hand side with a left handed car, like you are, right? But in the video, it was the opposite way round, and I'm like, "You fucking rented a British car, or what?" And it's like, why? Well, you're on the wrong side of the fucking road. Your steering wheel's on the other fucking side. Oh, no, no, no. It's what the camera does. Why does that? The camera turns it around. It doesn't do it all the
Yeah,
time. It seems to do it sometimes. Why does it do that?
yeah. I don't know.
What the fuck is that
I have no
shit?
idea. Hey, in UK, the driver the steering wheel's on the right side, right?
Steering wheel's on the
Over
right,
there
yeah.
where you're at. Yeah, yeah. Why is that? I always question that. Why is it that it's on the right side? They drive on the different side of the road, and here we do it the other way around.
We
Why?
started. You just did it to be different.
Really? Is that the reason why?
Yeah, we
I
started
needed to look
driving
up.
shit.
You know, I had that question in mind, and I never really sat down and thought about it, or actually even researched it. But it was a question I had.
Yeah.
That is just like, why? Like, you know what I'm noticing? The male people here, their driver's side is on the right side. The people who deliver mail, they drive on that side too, but they have to drive on the still according to the regulations of the roads here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's because they're getting in and out of the van all the time.
Yeah, I know, but it's weird because when they're driving, they have to drive still on the right side of the road while still maintaining themselves on the right side.
Yeah.
It's crazy because that must be a little bit more difficult to drive like that.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you do your postal delivery is your job, and then when you leave the post office, you get in your own car, which is
Yeah,
the regular one. It's got to fuck with your head.
yeah. Well, here's the thing though too. I was always thinking about if you were driving a stick shift because I know how to drive stick, but just driving stick with your left hand must feel weird too. But
Well,
it's crazy because I thought about it and now it's like you know how people say like in order for you to activate one side of your brain, right? You use the other side of your arm, like the opposite side.
yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm like, are UK people more left brain than right brain, and are more like Americans more right brain than left brain in some aspect, just as far as driving being like more hypnotic. You know what I'm saying? Because I noticed that when you drive, you may tend to drift off. You don't notice what you're doing. You're not really paying attention to much of what you're doing while you're doing the activities. It's more like automatic. You get
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say?
I think
And
that's,
more like, is it with UK? Are they thinking about more of the process, and it's not as automatic?
I think the automatic driving is a global thing. I don't think it's particular to any country.
Mhm.
You must have reflection yourself when you're, for instance, you say you're going to the gas station, you pull out your drive, and all of a sudden you put it in the gas station. Do you really remember the journey? Do you remember going by this post box on the left and the lamppost on the
No,
right?
no,
No, you
no,
don't.
not at all.
So it's all
Well,
it's
here's
all
the thing though. Do you think it has anything to do with like right and left brain activity, the position of your driving, or not?
um
And not really.
No, because it's not everybody has shift sticks here. There's of course globally automatic cars are becoming the thing. But I've travelled all over the world, and I've you know within 20 minutes your mind just switches. It's like when you watch a Necker cube. When you watch a Necker cube, you see one cube. Yeah, do you know what these Necker cubes are?
Mm-mm.
Okay, make a note of that. Necker cube. Necker, Necker or Neckar cube. And it's a wire cube, and it's an optical illusion because you'll look at it and you'll say to yourself, oh, the cube is facing to the left side. But then after 30 seconds, your mind will change it around and it will present it to you looking, pointing towards the right side, because it actually is both, but your mind is choosing between what it's used to. And that's a wonderful thing. Now, I don't know whether you ever saw a video of mine. It's up online now. It's footprints in the sand. Now, what I discerned one day when I was walking along the beach, when I was looking at footprints in wet sand, they should be embossed. But when I was looking at them, they were not embossed, onto the top. So they were protruding out the top of the sand. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on there? And then I'd watch them for 30 seconds and then they'd fall back in again. And then I'd watch them a little bit more and then they'd come back out again. And so they kept inverting themselves. And then I thought, I wonder
Mhm.
if the camera will actually pick this up. And you know what? The camera did.
Mm.
But not only that, when you watch the film, your mind will do it as well as the camera doing it.
Mhm.
And so it's
I
kind
gotta
of,
check that out. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, are you on the other side of the? I mean, I gotta orient myself. You're not. Are you on the other side of the planet of mine, from where I'm at?
Other side of the planet?
Yes.
No,
You.
I'm just over the ocean. I'm over the Atlantic, aren't I?
I would. I would think so. Yeah, but because I'm starting to think like I don't think there's accidents to everything. You know what I'm saying? There's just all made by design. But do you think that it has something to do with maintaining balance as far as like brain activity between the planet? Why they make certain people drive on certain sides of the road in certain countries and then on the other side in certain countries, and it's just basically a way to maintain balance uh, on the planet as far as brain activity goes.
No, because when you look at railroads, all railroads over the world were built at different gauges. The track dimension between the two tracks wasn't standardized. It wasn't until, I don't know, probably the Industrial Revolution, whereby if we're making trains to export to India and America and things like that, there needs to be a standardization. And what happened is in the Industrial Revolution in Britain, in say like late 1700s, 1800s, then we had to start standardizing nuts and bolts and dimensions, and all these different sorts of things. But I've no idea why America chose to drive on the opposite side of the road, to Britain, to the colony it derived from.
I got to do some deep pondering on that. I'm sure I'll come out with an answer for it.
Yeah,
But it's got me very, very curious right now. Like, I don't know if you noticed, I've been stuck on it for the past 5 minutes, but it's got me curious. Now I have to like do something and figure it out for
yeah. Well,
myself.
of course, the first production car was American, Henry Ford Model T, and so I can't say with any categoric assertion that we stipulated that we drive on the left side of the road before America decided to drive on whatever side of the road, because obviously America was well a nation of its own with technical abilities at the time we was designing these cars in Europe, and so.
Right.
I don't know what sort of preference was involved, but I would have thought it was a stupid decision from the get-go, because it meant that they couldn't feasibly exchange cars.
Or maybe they couldn't exchange cars. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but
Can
not
you see me?
easily, because people don't want a Cacanda. That's why we have to have cars made now specifically for different markets. You see, when Japan or China's making cars, they've got to design them for American and British and European markets. They've got to put the steering wheel on the other side, and that's a lot of expense. That's a lot of bullshit
Right.
going on. But
Yeah.
the whole standardization, of course, was a brilliant step in the right direction. And, why then America decided to change the British language with so many words? Why? Like lots of things. They supplant an X instead of a C. They, take the U out of colour, and lots of different words. It's kind of like, why did you do that? I think it was I think, to be fair, it was a vanity thing. We're American, and we do things in an American way. And of course, look, when anybody says, what language do you speak? How many Americans say, I speak American? You speak English.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, do you know how to drive stick?
Drive?
Manual?
Of course I do. I'm 60 years old, been all around the world, had cars all my
Yeah.
life.
So, do you notice how now they came out with cars automatic afterwards? I don't like automatic cars. I like
Here's the
stick shift
thing.
cars.
Here's the thing. That is a very bizarre question. No British person would ever ask that, because everybody starting out to drive has to drive with a shift stick, because to have an automatic license doesn't enable you to drive a manual. So therefore, you've got to have a shift stick license, and then you can drive a manual.
Yeah, you see that? So that's what I'm talking about. But now look at cars. Like, you got Tesla coming out with the self-driving vehicle.
Yeah.
And if you look at how cars were once built and how they're built now,
You wouldn't even need a driver's
basically,
license. You wouldn't need a driver's license because you're not
yeah.
driving.
What's the fucking point? Well, here's the thing: you got a lot, and they say driving is a privilege, right? But when you look at even the human body, how much control do you have over your own mechanism versus just it being an automatic function? And now all of a sudden, with new technology coming out, you're basically it's like a self-driving vehicle now. Like, you don't even have to do anything anymore. But that's always retarding back from the original source of, like, let's say, getting closer to God. This is why I say, like, technology in a way is it's a reflection of what happened in the Garden of Eden, where man created the woman, and it's a kind of man.
No,
But
God
woman, that's why I made a
apparently.
well, yeah, but yeah, well, you know what I mean. That's the whole allegoric shit. But when you look at I made a video. Woman is a technology created by man, but man again is God. But again, we follow these scriptures and whatnot. But that's the reason why I made this video, because we have a woman, we create a family, but it's like we get more and more separated from what our sources are to maintain a family, right? The religious order says keep the woman at home. She takes care of the children. The man goes to work, but then he's at work for X amount of hours. He comes home, he doesn't want to deal with his family or the kids because he's too tired from work, and he has to get up the next day to do the whole shit all over again. And then the religious order says that the children have to be closer to the father, right? But do you see how everything is just inverted? And when you look at the kingdom of the animals, right? Mainly the female is the one that goes and does the hunting, while the male is the one that protects the territory or the environment. You know, but that's not a manly or womanly thing. But it's like I feel like everything is just backwards. It's inverted. Everything is fucking crooked. Nothing is according to what it says. There's so many holes in what everybody preaches that their structure is, but I feel like the whole humanity is all fucking crooked. It's all based on an inorganic system or a genetically modified system, and then we're catering to that. And the more we cater to that is how we get further and further away from God.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
or like whatever anybody's idea of God is.
let me just jump in with this one then. Have you read Aldous Huxley's Brave New World or seen the movie?
No.
Okay, so George Orwell's 1984?
No.
Okay, so those two books are extremely important in your personal development. Once you've got the handle on those, you'll know where the world's going. So those two books, George Orwell's 1984 was written about 1932. 1947, I believe, and A Brave New World, published about 1932. They're about varieties of world. The George Orwell's 1984 was a dystopia, and A Brave New World was a utopia. Now, in A Brave New World, nobody was married. Nobody bore children. Children were created from a factory. The ovaries were extracted and the semen was extracted, and the state brought up the children. And so there were no parents. And so that's the way the world's going. That's what was Aldous Huxley's. You know, Aldous and Julian Huxley, two super British intellects, right? You might have heard of those. But they knew where the world was going. But what I'm saying here is, Ziggy, that was what's happening now is with gay marriages. When you allow gay marriages to adopt children, then you are cutting out the natural procreation facility.
It's an abomination.
Yeah, that is only one step away from saying, well, we may as well just order babies from the factory. You see what they're doing? They're doing this purposefully.
Yeah.
They've got a fucking agenda. They want to take away the woman's womb. They want to make
Right.
it like what I don't know, fucking non-sexual or some fucking thing. I'm pretty sure they will attack our sexual organs at some stage, so we don't even do that because we wouldn't need to do it anymore. At least the productive facets of it, the semen and the ovaries, they will try to eradicate those. And then the only because that takes our power away, because we can't create colonies of our own. We can't go rogue. Like in A Brave New World, there were certain societies outside of the utopia, and they were considered to be savages. But they lived naturally, and they grew old, and they died. Then nobody grew old in the Brave New World utopia. They disappeared about the age of 30. You see.
So, but here's the thing, though. So these people who created this novel or whatnot, where did they come out with that?
Well, exactly. But what I know about these people, they were very, very highly connected because they came from money, and they went with to the universities with all the powerful people, i.e., the best colleges on the planet.
But I ask that because I mean, it comes down to like people like that's not happening right now, right? But when we say that's where the world is going, it's only going the more we buy into that media or propaganda, or even like falling into those type of things. It's kind of like a conspiracy theorist, man. There could be people who say doomsday is coming, and then they start building bunkers and all that kind of shit, but there's really nothing happening now. They're more than likely to create their reality in such a way only because that's what they're living already in that now moment. You get what I'm saying? That's why sometimes I question where all these things came from all these people that write these books and all these stories. I'm like, where did you come down to that conclusion? It's not happening now. Or people talking about, slavery or Black History Month and where all that came from. Like, are you living that now?
Okay,
What are you celebrating
I've
if
got an
nothing's
answer.
happening now?
I've got an answer for that, you see, because like I was saying, these people come from the highest educational institutions, and they come from money, they come from fraternities, they come from secret societies, they come from the Masons and this, that, and the other. These people are privy to the latest technology on the planet well before the public. And lots of this stuff isn't even public knowledge. So they knew about this passing around scientific papers, and so people would be
Studying what though?
sorry.
Scientific papers about what?
Oh, all sorts of genetics and
What kind of technology? The mind?
no, genetics. Like, look, they reckon that the DNA, is a a recent discovery, but how can we be sure of that? There's lots of technologies that many people profess that the powers that be have, and they're not telling us. Look, how is it that they can just bring out a new phone very, very, very conveniently at the exact time when it's the most appropriate, when people are just getting bored of the old phone? They've had it a year and a half, and it's knocked around and it's scratched, and they're looking for a new phone. Lo and behold, the latest technology comes out. They've got this technology. They've got it all backed up. They know exactly what fucking prototype they're going to be delivering at any given moment. They know everything about everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's marketing and propaganda, right? So it's the same
Yeah.
thing. Like, if you buy into that reality, you're more than likely to experience that reality.
Yeah, but what we can,
When you said these people are like, they come from money and they made these big studies, I mean, they might be studying the mind. Look at, for example, they got secret bases like Area 51. How do we know that why is it so secret? Why can't they show a picture of an alien or a spaceship? I feel like they're studying people. You get what I'm saying? And the people they study is how they reverse engineer this vessel that we're in right now. That's how they're able to know so much about it.
Exactly.
Why do they pay so much money for marketing, billions of dollars in marketing, billions of dollars in billboards, just because it hits the subconscious mind? It makes an impression on your woman, right? So then it's like you're more than likely to live that reality. So they study the mind. They have all the funds to do it. We buy into that reality. They don't infringe on our free will because we're willingly going there, like a sheep mentality, like sheep shepherds of God. They're God because we put our faith in them, because they say they have science, they wrote books, or they're bigger than us. Ain't nobody bigger than you, man. Ain't nobody bigger than me. The thing is that these people only appear to have more power because they're flashing the illusion of like money in front of you, or this intellect. I don't feel like they're smart at all. The more intellectuals I feel, the stupider they are sometimes.
No, well, I mean, let me run this one by you.
Yeah.
When people have money, ideas, and nefarious intentions, when they are dealing with 8 billion people on the planet, or whatever it was, whether it's 7 billion or 6 billion, it's a lot of people. And if you are only a handful of few families that have got an agenda that you want to bring upon the world, you ain't going to be able to force that upon the world. So what do? You start planting seeds by writing books about it, bringing movies out about it. You put it into the psyche of the whole world.
That's why you got to be careful what you're looking at, what you're reading, and all that, because you're buying into shit unconsciously.
Let me finish this point. This point is really, really powerful, because it is not them that then carries the baton. Once the seed has been planted in our minds, we carry the baton of that. We carry the energy. We talk about it. We create it. It's us that is doing it. All they're doing, they're just like they're just planting a seed. They're planting a seed in our minds.
They're proposing. It's just up to you to engage and say yes or no.
And that's why, you see, they don't do no evil.
They need people's participation.
They are not doing any evil because they allow us to make all the choices. And all the choices
and make you think you have free will.
All we think we've got free will, yes. It's kind of like Henry Ford said, look, you can have cars any colour you want as long as it's black. And so, well, it's just fucked up psychology, and they do this all the time. They say, look, you can choose who's going to run your country between the right wing of the bird or the left wing of the bird. But then you look at it and you go, well, it's the same fucking bird. It's the same bird all the time. It's just pretending.
Hey, Aaron, I'm going to take you out, bro. It's on me. I'm going to invite you to a restaurant today, man. I'll let you choose, man. I'll let you choose between Mexican or Caribbean. Which one you want?
Mexican.
There you go. But you had no choice. I gave you the choices. You had no choice outside of the choices I gave you. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want none of it. How about I go for Chinese?
Yeah, how
Right?
I go for
You see what I'm saying?
meal, roast beef and Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah, you make it like you see how right now you chose, right? But you didn't do. I only gave you my options. You didn't have no options. You
Yeah.
know.
No.
I only gave you the options I decided to give you, and
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
exactly. This is how advertising works because when you're driving down the road, in 84 degrees, whatever it is, and you've got a big glug 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 Coca-Cola fizzy in a nice clinking glass of full of ice and that. Well, fuck me. The next place that you pass a gas station or somewhere like that, it's going to have another reminder of that Coke. You're going to have a 50-foot one along the auto route, and then you're going to have a
Right.
smaller one just before you pull in. Well, it's in your mind, and all of a sudden you're
That's right.
tasting it now because fuck, I could do with the Coke. You probably wouldn't even recognize consciously that you've seen those signs.
That's right. That's
So
why when I read, when I look into somebody, I'm actually seeing if they're a man of God or if they're not a man of God. Because most of the time, people actually play agents in this little life that we're in also. Because let's say if they're not really in the God space and then they come out and project their reality onto others, they're nothing but mind virus. They're spreading mind viruses onto the masses. They say the road to hell was paved with good intentions. People think they're doing good, but they're doing more harm sometimes when they're coming from a space of them thinking they're doing good, but they're not even really close to being good. They're basically working for the matrix because they're keeping you more ingrained through more of the propaganda of like conspiracy theories or like the they victim mentality and whatnot. And that's very juicy. People like that. Sometimes people don't like certain things that certain people say that may be very empowering or enlightening, and it's just because they hate God. They like the devil. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
that's a form of them not being closer to God themselves. Let's say, for example, if some people are portraying a message of like, and then you look at the root core of the messages, getting out of victim mentality, getting out of basically, the realm of the inversion of humanity, and then making the responsibility fall into their hands. They may not like that. And then meanwhile, they'll fall into something that somebody's saying, oh, they're doing this to us, the government, all the conspiracy theory. They fall into that because that's dramatic. And drama is negative energy. Negative energy is attractive energy. You know what I'm saying? So people fall into a false light or a false, because a negative could be very attractive, but you get caught. That's how the whole predator and prey shit actually works. But people actually become agents of the matrix through the force of what's governing this planet. And that's propaganda, media. They'll make that person of high influence buy into that shit, and that person of high influence spreads the mind virus more effectively than somebody who has a small following. You
yeah,
get what I'm saying? It's like a fucking trap in all ways, man. That's why you gotta be careful who you listen to. Like
yeah.
these Jordan Petersons and whatnot. You know, bro, I can make a videos. I don't do it because I don't really care too much. But man, Jordan Peterson's a fucking agent. So is fucking other people that I think we've mentioned here. But they're all, it's particularly even one Infinite Waters, Rob Smart, big ass agent of the fucking of the Matrix, man. Because that dude, the way he says shit and the way he puts it, it's all elaborated toward just making sure your humanity stays intact. I'll make separate videos on that. I don't want to get too deep on that, but there's agents everywhere, bro. And if somebody doesn't really look at the root core message of this shit, you'll just stay entrapped believing that shit. And that's why I said there's truth in the lie. But you got to know that the truth is being told to you from within you the moment you observe the lie. That's the whole paradox. You're not looking for, you don't need to seek truth. You are the truth. The moment you observe the lies, you'll know the truth because it's given to you through intuition. But people follow shit outside of themselves. That's being a sheep. That's being an idiot. You get what I'm saying? Being kind and nice. That's not what life is about. You know what I'm saying? Is being, you treat others how you would want to be treated yourself. We're all one, but we're not all the same. We're all very different.
So tell me how Jordan Peterson's an agent. How did they get hold of him?
Man, it's just the way he portrays the religious message, the way he portrays the whole entire, just being so left brain in philosophy and whatnot. I remember one thing he said that I'm glad Andrew Tate pointed it out, but I had pointed it out before he even pointed it out. He goes, when he had so much opinions about war. Give them hell, bring that, knock down their doors. But I bet you if that hell was brought to his doorstep, he would fucking shit his pants.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't even know the first fucking step toward going to war against somebody. If you're not about it, don't preach about it. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole philosophy behind the shit that you do. If you're not like me, I talk about gardening. I talk about cats and animals. I talk about God mode. I talk about feminine and masculine energy. I'm talking about finances most of the time. I'm living that. I'm doing the stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about shit, but they're not even doing it. You know what I'm saying? There's people who talk about detoxing and whatnot, and they go eat cheeseburgers, Doritos, and Popeyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You're not about it. If you're not about war, if like me, I would never talk about going to war and soldiers. I don't know. I don't fucking know, even know how to shoot a fucking gun, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why the fuck would I talk about that?
Yeah.
Why would I have an opinion on war if I'm not a fucking military guy?
Yeah.
I don't fucking care about that topic.
No. So there's a couple of intellectuals that have been watching my videos for many, many years, and in recent times have become tired with my rants against Christians. And he said, look, you know, all of us, your long-term viewers, of course, we're all with you on this subject. And so, you know, can you give us something else? Because, you know, to be frank, it's a bit like a record stopped. And I said, well, look, because I've wrote a book and it's called Closer to God, I've got no idea, you know, that was given to me by God, you know, to name it that. And I cursed myself in some respects. So I've done something bizarre. And then I started to get all these Christians attacking me because I'm decrying, because my book isn't about closer to their fucking God. It's about being close to the real God, which is human consciousness or cosmic consciousness. And so, you know, they're drawn to the book because they think it's going to be giving them what they need, their fucking milk and honey, but it's not. It's going to be taking all that away. So then, of course, they attack me, and then they prove themselves not to be real Christians. Because if you're a real Christian, you wouldn't be judging, you wouldn't be spitting your venom. You'd be pitying me, and you'd be wanting to send me some money or some flowers or some fucking thing because you think I'm the most pitiable, and you want to be trying to save me. But no, you're not real Christians. You're deceptive, lying motherfuckers. You are Satan himself, and I can see that in your actions. You know, it's like Jesus did all these illustrations. You know, a fucking bad tree will produce bad fruit, and so these Christians that are attacking me, they're just bad fucking energies through and through, but they can't see that because they're bad energy, but they've been indoctrinated to this belief. And so it really is a bizarre thing. And I say these people are dangerous. These people are real dangerous because they, by their heart, aren't good people. They are bad people, but been indoctrinated with a doctrine that potentially could lead to violence. Because if they see anything outside of their dogma, then they get very angry because they don't have the Christos, because they don't have God within them. And so this is what I'm doing it for. I'm bringing chaos onto my channel, and I'm showing it back to them. They're fucking evil, and I'm showing it to everybody else. And I'm saying, listen.
Oh, but if you put it, if you dish that out, you're gonna get it back in return, though.
Yeah.
So you gotta expect these Christians to come at you and shit.
Of course,
but the whole thing is, here's the thing. Like me, for example, I love Christians. I love talking with them. You know what's funny though? And this is why I say to enter the kingdom of heaven, you have to be childlike. I'm from New York, bro. That's probably the most diverse state you can fucking be in. Bro, I hung out with Muslims. I hung out with fucking Presbyterians. I hung out with fucking Jews. Let me just interject
here because I want you to make something very clear. When you say you love Christians, I mean, I don't have a problem with real Christians. Real Christians, I've got no problem with at all. I've got problems with false fucks. And
I agree.
All of the people, Ziggy, that tell you they're Christians, right? Watch their actions. Don't just listen to the bullshit that comes out their mouth. Watch their
No. Well, that's my whole point. And you didn't even need to defend that because I know you love whoever's there. It's just that you probably the idea of the Christian and how it's portrayed is what you dislike, which I do too. But the whole point is what I was saying was in New York, I hung out with all these people. You know what's crazy is that these guys even wore the fucking little hat on their head and whatnot. Bro, it wasn't even a fucking topic. It wasn't a thing. Like we hung out, we did our thing, we went and did whatever.
Let me stop. These people that wear this fucking tupa thing, whatever it is, they're Jews. They're not Christians.
No. That's what I'm saying. Those are Jews. What I was telling you before is I hung out with Jews, Christians, Presbyterian, Muslims, all kind of people. Right. The Jews, like I hung out with all these people, but the religious topic, all that color was never a fucking thing. We did our thing, we played, we hung out. It was never a thing. And then we become adults, we start learning some type of information, and then all of a sudden we start to look at that and form an illusion of separation between them and those people as if we're not the same. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We're all different, but we are all one still at the same at the end of the day. It's like that whole paradox thing. But my point to this whole thing is that I've spoken to Christians and I love debating Christians, but it's not coming out of a debate where I don't like I hate them. I basically love doing it because if I have a stance on something and they have a stance on something, I love that debate. That it's like a sport, in my opinion. I just love fucking challenging them and them challenging me. The same way I challenge you on some questions is not coming out of malicious intent where I'm trying to smash you or anything like that. We're having a great conversation. Fucking iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just a way to keep the mind sharp. You have a certain perspective on things. I have another one, and it makes interesting content that we could both challenge each other. I fucking can't stand when you're looking at a fucking channel and they're both fucking stroking their dicks. That's mental masturbation because they're both jerking each other off. You get what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
we're both talking and coming from different perspectives, but still having a mutual respect for each other, it's no different than two MMA fighters going at it, displaying their fucking skills and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's still fucking fake. You get what I'm saying? It's still whatever. We're just engaging in a conversation that can basically have people actually either come to their own perspective on things based on what they heard, not to buy into what each one of it says, because people are so fucking polarizing. Oh, this guy said it this way. I don't like the way Ziggy said it, or I don't like the way Aaron's going. Like you've had fucking comments where they say, oh, you know, on my videos they'll say the only reason I watch it is because you made the video, but you shouldn't have Aaron on. Or I'll go into your channel, they'll say, be careful who you put on your channel. It's just fucking dumb. Like those are unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
Those are like the fucking extras in the movie. But if somebody wants to add something intelligent on there, or that can make us even think about what the fuck we said, that's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't see that, man. I really don't see that. Why don't I see that? Either people are too scared to comment on it, they're too scared to give their opinions, or they just don't have any because they don't even understand what the fuck we're saying.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else other than those possibilities. You get what I'm saying? But we're in our realm right now where we're talking, and I asked you the specific question in the beginning of the video. Any conversation that we've had, and I've asked you questions or I've gone into certain tangents, have I lost you in any kind of way?
No. And so
No.
no, because you know we're in the same vibration. We're following each other, and you know we just know what the other person's speaking about. And if we don't
Yeah,
know,
but then
then we'll
But
ask.
then exactly. But then there's one that would say, "Oh, I saw Aaron was trying to answer, but he couldn't because." I'm like, "How the fuck do you know what I'm directly asking you? Do you understand everything I say?" You said yes, but you see how they give their own stupid opinions. Like, I mean, look, I'm going off on a tangent now because the shit is like you could see this through the public. On a mass scale, when they look at other people, these big gurus, they form like a cult type following because people have a sheep like mentality where they want to herd and follow a person as if they were the savior of their fucking life.
Yeah,
That's my problem with that I have with people. Stop looking at people for the answer. Stop looking at people for savior mentality. Look and observe at what they're saying, and you're gonna know what truth is because you're gonna feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. So if I'm looking at somebody, I'm gonna know if they're a person of God or if they're not. Everybody's a person of God at the end of the day, but I'm gonna know if they're really aligned with God based on the message they're portraying. If you're in victim mentality, if you're in a weak sheep mentality where you're depending on others or information outside of you, you're not in God mode. You're a person of God still, but you're not in God mode. You're still a fucking person seeking answers outside of you, and you'll know the answers are within you the moment you observe the lies that you're the one that's projecting these lies to begin with. This whole realm of lies that we say it's an illusion, but you're having real fucking experiences, man. You're having real fucking experiences that are having long lasting cause and effects in your life. So you better fucking respect reality and respect the physical because the physical could be a secondary effect, but it's coming from you, the real. You're the one creating those secondary effects that are having a real fucking influence on you and others outside of you that are still you. And that's why they say if you enlighten and help others in a real way, you're enlightening and helping yourself. If you're a service to others, you're a service to self. If you treat others the way you want to be treated, it's because you're treating yourself like that first. You have to have that frequency in you first. Sorry for the long tangent, but I had to get that out because it was in my root chakra, and if I didn't, it was gonna fucking like cause blue balls, and I had to let that ejaculation out. You get what I'm trying to say?
oh fuck, yeah. Well, the thing is about us. the videos we make are an expression of what we are living, like you said. And so this person that was saying to me, you're making a lot of these videos and we know all that. And so give us something, your long-term viewers. And I'm like, yeah, it's a perfectly valid request. And I'm going to try to do that. I'll be conscious of it. But the videos I make are not contrived. Because they're an expression of me, how I'm feeling, and God consciousness at any given time. And I'm inspired to make things. I don't know on any of my videos what I'm going to say. I walk to the supermarket, I put my camera in the pocket because I know I'm going to say something. I take the camera out, I've got it in my hand, and I'm like, oh, okay, something comes into my head. All right, I'll talk about that. And 45 minutes have gone by, whatever, and I've done that. And then along the way, I will see some animals, I'll see some plants or some trees, and then I'll go off on a tangent about them. It's a magical mystery tour. Life's like a box of chocolates with my channel, at least, because nobody ever knows what they're going to get in any one video. But I don't contrive anything, I don't research anything. I just speak off the bat, just like you do. And people who watch our channels, which isn't a great number, find that refreshing, because we are not just regurgitating shit that you can get anywhere on the internet. If I want to listen to something,
But they will come back. I guarantee they'll come back to this information. This is one thing I'm going to predict. They will come back to this information because they're listening to the shit that's been out and people regurgitating, but it's still not fulfilling them. But this is the type of information they're going to come back to. Guarantee it. It's all coming down to chemistry.
They're coming down to real, as far as anything real goes, because when people are cut, you're not even listening to a human being. All you're listening to is a few fucking frames of somebody speaking.
That's right.
And I will not watch that bullshit. I will only watch a video if it's just talking all the way through, if someone is articulate. And when someone says a word that's not a real word and they correct themselves or burp, farts, whatever, great. I'm all up for that. I'm all up for keeping it fucking real, baby. And that's why I act like a caricature of myself. I go over the top to really bring that home and to let everybody know out there that they don't have to be afraid of just being who the fuck you are, and just saying what the fuck you do. And just I do my cooking videos, I do singing videos now and again. I used to do a lot more music videos with my guitar and this and the other, and I just put stuff out there, and I'm like, well, what does it matter at the end of the day? Some people thumb it down, some people thumb it up, some people say that was great, some people say stick to the philosophy, mate. You're going to get all sorts. That's how it's going to be. And if you're not going to be expressing yourself because there's a couple of people going to be saying something that you potentially might not respect or like, if you're going to be affected by that shit, you're not going to do anything. I do this shit to bring on as much shit as I possibly can, because that way it shows me the metal I've got. If I can keep withstanding all this flack and not let it bother me in the fucking slightest, then I know that I'm a real fucking man as far as any man goes. I'm not shrinking away from anything. I'm not shying away from anything. And the only reason I don't speak from my heart on all subjects is because I can't do it on this channel, because they'll take it down.
Yeah, that's you see, that's another thing. That whole fucking limitations of what you can even say is just, it's manifested through this fucking AI, bro.
It's getting worse, and our comments are disappearing. I went on to Rumble. I went to have a look at Rumble, and if I said, "Look, I'm going over to Rumble," about 100 people would follow me, because that's my true following. The diehards that have been with me for years. So I'd lose 900 plus, and I've built this channel up for the best part of a year or something like that now, and it's kind of like, I don't want to throw that away, because it's just getting how I want it to. I'm getting a lot of comments, and even though I'm getting a bit of hate from Christians, not all of them, some of them are acting within the parameters of their belief, and they're just saying things like, this guy's evil, this guy's deluded. Okay, that's fine. You're still judging, you're still doing what you shouldn't do, but you're being courteous within parameters, because if you start effing and blinding, your comments just going to get disappeared by Google or fucking by me, because I'm not going to have anybody abusing me, thinking that they can come on my channel and just start calling me blind. And so, we have benefits of this censor thing, because these days now we have the option of vetting all comments before we place them onto our channel. Now, in the old days, you'd get all these trolls, and you could go to bed one night. Let's say go to bed in the British nighttime, and then all of a sudden America starts to wake up on way over on the West Coast, and then they're writing shit down, and stuff's been on the internet for the whole world to see for about 5 or 6 hours before you've even fucking woke up. Well, now they can't do that. So that's the beautiful thing. When you've got haters that want to destroy your channel and speak shit, well, thank goodness that Google have put that implementation in. But because they've put it in to protect you, you can use it to protect you. They're also using it to protect other people, because there are people shrinking violets that do get offended by fuck, cunt, and shag and things like that, And so, I don't mind it, in that respect, because I think, well, just to be a little bit more eloquent and not to be, overtly malicious, is a good thing. We should all take a leaf out of that. Of course, I object about it when I can't say things about the government. That's when I seriously object. But the point is, if you look around, Ziggy, where do you go? Because they're so powerful, they're so good at what they do. They ensure that nobody else is getting a look in. And nobody's channels are not working like this
Oh,
one.
my shit is blocked sometimes, man. I got people, and I even tested it myself, man. My girl has a YouTube channel, and she doesn't even get notifications of my own videos, and she's got the bell icon on. Imagine, it's not like I make back to back videos, but my videos don't even pop up on the fucking algorithm. Ain't that some shit? Right. I must be saying something very bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To them, but it's okay. See, the whole thing is that my videos are journals, and I keep saying this all the time because they really are. If I feel a certain way, I put it on camera, and I always revert back to my information to pretty much get answers to what state I'm in. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who will refer to like external sources. A lot of the times, and I've done this multiple times, if I remember I made a video on a specific topic, I'll go back to that, and it answers the question that I had in that present moment. As if my present self, right, is channeling a future self of mine, making a video, and then I go back in time and I actually answer my own questions in that time in real time.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Like the biggest fucking crazy fucking shit in the world.
And of course, look, we watch our own videos back with glee, and I'm sure we're watching with equal excitement as any of the viewers, because it's new to us as well, even though we said it.
Right.
If I watch a video like 2 days after I've made it, I'm kind of like, when did I say that? Fucking hell. Yep. And I look at the mood I was in, I look at the energy I was carrying. And, if my ego was a governor of my channel, then I would make it like everybody else is. I'd be like, oh, you can't put that one up. That will offend this person. That will offend that person. That will offend. Before I'd know it, I'll be offending so many people, I wouldn't have any viewers. But, in actual fact, because I'm full on with the intention to offend everybody, then that works in a psychological reverse, you see. And so more people are attracted to my channel because of my don't give a fuck sort of, no nonsense, weird fucking looking dude that can hold a conversation, with himself or somebody else. And so, what we're doing is we are diarying, like you say. First and foremost, I am diarying, and I would do it for myself if nobody else is watching, because it's a mirror. We're holding up a mirror, and we are having this opportunity to have shone back to us exactly what we've put out into the cosmos, and then we can ask ourselves: is that what you want to put out? Do you want to put more of that out, or do you want to put less of that out?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it too. Because sometimes I look at it. Well, there's videos I keep private for myself, only because I know they won't allow it on YouTube. But they're private. But I look back at them, and then again, it just goes to show what state I was in at that moment. You see, they say merrily, life is but a dream, right? We should always record our dreams. They say write dream journals and whatnot. It's the same thing with life, man. It's very good to journal. It's good to notice your journey along the way. Like you said, you're driving to the gas station. Did you notice the fucking, mailbox on the right and whatever on
Yeah.
the left? And
And so when
why
we're doing
not?
all these videos, I've got like 5,000 on hard drive, and eventually my daughter will have these, and I'll say to her on my deathbed, if I ever get the opportunity, listen to those videos, and then you'll really know who your dad was, because she
Mhm.
doesn't listen to these videos; they're not her thing, and she doesn't know 99% of who her dad is. She
Yeah.
just knows one facet of a loving, doting father that's going to do anything in his power to help her. And I'll see her, for an hour a week, sometimes, maybe two, and that's it. And so, if she would sit through and watch thousands of hours of my video,
I
she'll
can
know.
hear you. Keep talking.
Yeah,
I
she'll
can
know
hear you.
who her father was. And then, if ever she wanted to write her own biography of a story of her life, she could tell in it the more truer facet of where her roots were, how she was encouraged and helped, and who made her as a human being. Because myself and of course her mother have been extremely instrumental in her life. Our mother's there for loving support, but nothing else. She hasn't got a single thing to say to help her in any shape or form. Whenever she needs psychological assistance, life assistance, she knows who to come and see. And
Yeah.
so all these things, that they're a wonderful thing. And I documented all of her childhood. It's all on DVD. And I say to her, I say, look, I've got all these DVDs. They ain't going to last forever. In 10, 20 years' time, you're not going to find a facility for transferring these films from these DVDs. So I bought her a DVD player, which you just plug in to your computer. And I said, just take an hour each week and upload these videos. It's your past. It's you as a child to show your children. If you lose these videos, look at what you've lost.
Yeah.
I'm saying to her, and I tell her all the time, can you imagine? These videos for me were absolutely precious, priceless. I can look at
Mhm.
you. I made a video when she's 3 years old, this gorgeous little blonde thing, big blue eyes. And I said to her, I'm making this video for you so you can see it in 20 years' time. And she's like, she didn't know what the deal was. And I'm like, because I know within no time at all, you're going to be big, And I said, what big like mummy? You're big like mummy in no time at all. And so in here, I'm capturing all this now. And I've
Yeah.
got this. And I tell you what, it's the weirdest fucking thing, because when I watch those videos 20 years later, it's like, fuck, unbelievable. Who
Yeah.
gave me that? Who gave me that insight to be able to give me that treasure, that pleasure? And it was a very bizarre, conscious, cosmic experience looking at myself with 20 years insight, taking the time, Ziggy, to do it, knowing that 20 years ain't a lot of time. And so
Yeah.
when we do things in our lives, every time we're in the gym, every time we do whatever we're doing, we know that 10 years time, 20 years time, we're going to benefit 150% from everything we're doing now. Be careful what you're
That's
doing
right.
today. That's what I'll say
Mhm.
to everyone. Be careful what you're doing. Be careful how you squander your life. Be careful the illusions that you buy into. On my channel, I suppose, ultimately, it's just about waking people the fuck up. This is life. And as much as I call it Maya, delusion, illusion, and all this shit, nobody lives more than me, Ziggy. Nobody's lived more than me. 45 countries around this world, living and working in many of them, a million different experiences. Nobody's embraced this reality more than me. Nobody's took it more serious than me.
Hey, Aaron, if I would, let's say I was the most famous, most popular guy on the planet, and I was to tell everybody to listen to you in the shortest, most concise message, what would be the message you would give the people right now to say that this is the truth and you are the way of information that people should go to, since you said you're trying to wake people up?
How would you tell people? How would you guide people to me?
I would just tell them, hey, this guy has all the answers. You got to listen to Aaron. What would
Well,
you say to the people
what would I say to them? I
in the
don't
most
really.
condensed way possible? You know how they say be impactful with small words? What would
Yeah,
you say to the
I mean,
people
look,
to get them to really wake up from this reality and be
yeah,
closer to God?
it's not possible because what I've said it over 10 years, over thousands and thousands of hours. And in my book, what I've condensed from 14 years, um, it is literally, it's 1 millimeter on top of an iceberg of my life experience. And you know what I'm appealing to people, what I'm trying to enable them to experience a little bit is the depth behind that book, because if they could penetrate the depth, then it will be the greatest of opportunity for them to experience and grow from what I'm telling them. For instance, when I paste in um, the condensed version of Plato's Allegory of the Cave. If they get their head around that one, it's one of the most powerful things that they could ever learn. And of course it is. It came from Plato himself. It came from God, I'm telling you. Everything that came from Plato came from God. And so, if you see, God was speaking through all these people: Plato, Socrates, Parmenides, Aristotle, fucking on and on and on. All these philosophers, these God speaking through them all, every single one of them, just like it is through us. And so, it can't be anything else. And so, we need to listen. And so, this is why I say when people read this book, you have to contemplate what is being said. It's like in the Bible. I've read the Bible, read it twice in its entirety, didn't get nothing from it. It's only having studied it very deeply for the next 15 years that I started to glean the depth of it. That's what it takes. And so if anyone was going to say you got to listen to Aaron, why? Because he'll tell you how to live. He'll tell you what life is.
What is life?
14 years. That's life. Life is life. Life is life.
Life's a bitch.
Life is beautiful. Life's a bitch. Life is life. Life is everything. And it's a miracle. It's incredible.
Bitch is actually a good word. You know that? It's not a bad word.
Well, originally being a female dog, it's quite inoffensive.
What is death?
Obviously, it's a life. It's just a
What is death?
to life, because I don't believe in death. When you have the greatest thinkers on the planet and they don't believe in death, why is that? It's because they've experienced so many paranormal conscious things that they know that this human experience isn't all there is. And not to keep laboring the mire on the illusion, but it is a form of illusion. There was this theoretical physicist called David Bohm, a British one, very, very highly regarded. And he said, he came up with his own philosophy, and he was a Nobel laureate. And he said, this life is something like a hologram. That's a fucking physicist, a theoretical physicist. In his genius, he looked and examined at what this is, and he said it's kind of a hologram. And so, a kind of a hologram, a simulation, a dream, a mirage, illusion, all these sort of things. It is not real like the ego thinks it is. And that's the thing. The ego is just the operating system to delude the spirit into having this experience. It's not a bad thing. Spirit has to have the ego. Spirit can't have this experience without the ego, you see. And so that's why we have left brain for the logic and for the ego, and we have the right brain for all of the things that pertain to God: music and art and poetry and experiencing love and all these wonderful things. We are a dichotomous creature, and if you look into biology, you will see that there hasn't been a creature so far found that doesn't have split brain.
You know what's funny? Sometimes when I look at life, right?
Think about that, Ziggy. Think about that. There hasn't been a creature found that doesn't have a split brain.
Right.
Why is that?
I thought
Because it deals with the dichotomous world.
Mhm. Well, you have sexes in animals too, which is basically split between male and
You
female.
have sexes
You
in
have
plants,
man and
sexes
woman,
in trees, sexes in everything.
right?
They're just
So
opposites, aren't they?
yeah, but they're a manifestation of our
Yeah,
mind, of
they're a
what
man.
we're looking at right now with our brain
You
that
see,
we're decoding.
some trees, um, one year they'll be male, and if there are too many male trees around it, then it will change into being a female. And then if other trees, which are capable, not all trees can be androgynous, but if other trees, like for instance, ash trees are androgynous. If there's too many males around, then they become female, and then
Marijuana, I grow cannabis, and it's just like that too.
yeah, and some years they don't have any sex. They don't offer themselves for sexual contact. They don't receive
Right.
and they don't produce. They just lie dormant. And so look at what's going on in this world. It is just beyond comprehension. And so I think that the greatest thing that anybody could take from my videos is just to be open minded. Just to be open minded and don't take it too seriously, because it isn't the end of you when this body dies. Your spirit is infinite, and it's only kind of like a dream in any case. And you see, when I took DMT tells me that the world is perfect and I am the all that has been, is, and ever will be. And it says that the world and everything is perfect. And when I came out of that, I questioned what on earth could that mean? But then I realized that the only thing that makes it imperfect is our ego. It's our ego that invents the division. It invents the good and the bad and all these distinguishing features, which some we shy away from, some we embrace. DMT doesn't do that because DMT is God. I swear DMT is a very, very higher extent of consciousness. It's absolutely fucking incredible beyond anyone's imagination. DMT, that is. And so, yeah, you get into that realm, it tells your silly human ego. He laughs at the ego.
Right.
It seriously laughs at the ego. And it tells you that you are love. You're God. You're the creator. You're everything. Chill the fuck out and enjoy.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do. I just enjoy. And honestly, I stopped working 14 years ago, Ziggy. Never going to work again for the rest of my life. And like you say, we make our choices. I projected onto the world that I'm going to live like a king. In a small way, I don't have a castle and I don't have a whole entourage of serfs working in my house, but I do actually have a whole entourage of serfs. I have the whole world catering for me because I don't make tins of beans. I don't pack chickens. I don't make towels. I don't make CBD oil. I don't make nothing. I don't even sweep the roads. I do nothing. I'm like a queen bee sitting here being catered for by the whole world because I've realized my God consciousness. See how that works? When you don't want all the trappings, you realize your God consciousness, then you just sit on a throne like all
Yeah.
gurus do. So I'm a self-proclaimed guru. I know exactly what's going on here.
Mhm.
So this video is 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, we've been out. Yeah, we've been out for a while, man. All right, man. Well, I mean, the recording should be perfect on these because I got mine recorded. You should have yours recorded. I only
What I'm
had
going to
technical
do with
difficulty
these
with my
two,
phone
I'm
over
going to
here.
put them up with a few days in between because
Yeah.
otherwise we're not going to get the cover on them. And so I think if I've already uploaded the other one, so that'll be up today, and then I'll leave it
Mhm.
5 days, and then I'll bang this second one up. And so
Yeah, I'll do the same thing too. Then I'll just put the
I can send
second
you,
video.
a link to this one, a private link, so you
Mhm.
can watch it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, because I actually, well, I record. I had the obviously my recording stopped, but then I recorded again up until the moment where it picked up.
Oh,
I
so
just
you've
didn't
got
get what you
everything.
were talking about when you were by yourself.
Yeah, you've got everything except that little bit then, from about
That
50,
little bit when I went out.
yeah,
Yeah,
from about 37 minutes in.
yeah, yep. So yeah, I mean, I'll still if you could send the link, it don't matter. I'll take the link anyway.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Awesome.
It's good talking to you, bro.
Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
always a good chat with you, bro.
I mean, it may be an illusion, but it's a kick-ass one.
It's a kick-ass one, bro. That's all it is, about experiencing these fucking brilliant, beautiful moments, bro. But yeah, good talk, man. I appreciate the conversation, man. We'll do it again, like
Yeah.
we always do.
Also,
You let me know.
live life, bro.
You got it, man.
Talk to you soon.
We'll talk soon, all right?
People.
Later, bro.